Good evening. Welcome to Sports Weekend on I-24 News. Live from the Jaffa Port, I'm Mirav Seville. Coming up today, it's been an exciting tight race in La Liga. Michael Schumacher shows signs of consciousness while Formula One is adjusting to the new regulations. French striker Nicolas Anelka breaks the silence after leaving West Brom. And what if the NBA playoffs were to begin today? The East is a hot mess and we should all expect surprises and just enjoy the bumpy ride. Joining me for the show today are I-24 News sports analyst Jonathan Regev and Danny Swibel and our Twitter expert Michal Divon. Hi guys.
Hi, good evening.
And as in every week, we start off with football. It's been a very exciting season so far in La Liga, and Jonathan, this tight race at the top of La Liga has got your top vote for the week.
Excellent race, and it stands above what we've seen in other leagues. We spoke also about that last week. In Germany, the race is over. In Italy and in France, it will happen very soon. And in Spain, where it's usually just a two-team race, now there are three teams, and they're very, very tight, and they keep on taking the points. Last night, all three of them won. Very difficult games. Real Madrid traveled to Real Sociedad away. They won. Atletico Madrid, a difficult game at home. They won. Barcelona won every time. They win and they keep the pressure on each other. They all played midweek action in the Champions League, and they still had the energy to come and win.
So we may see this go until the final games.
Yes, and there are only 6 games to go, and they seem to prevail. 2 of them we will probably see in the Champions League semi-finals. One for sure, as Barcelona and Atletico Madrid face each other. Real Madrid are quite assured their place in the Champions League semi-final. So they're very, very strong, both in the local field and on the European field.
And while they're all fighting for this top spot, who do you think is going to take it?
That's a problem because I like Atletico Madrid. Not that I'm their fan. I just like a team that's coming from outside and winning. Because Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're there every season. They've made this league their own business. Atletico Madrid comes from outside, has about 20% of the budget compared with Real Madrid and Barcelona, and still they give them a fight. Right now they're first. If they win all their games till the end of the season, they will clinch the title. I hope they win. But it looks, right now at the moment, I think Barcelona is a favorite. That's how it looks. Even though Real Madrid looks very, very strong, if I have to judge by my heart, I'd say Atletico Madrid.
And we should always follow our hearts.
Don't ever follow your heart if you want to gamble. But
last week we were all eyes on the Premier League, saying that's the one to follow. Now it's La Liga. It's going to be a very exciting end for us.
These are the 2 leagues to follow by far, and they are going to give us a very, very exciting race all the way to the end.
And moving to your flop, Leverkusen has had a rough couple of months and an even worse weekend this past weekend.
Yes, they just sacked their coach, Sami Hyypiä. Now, no one expected them to win the Bundesliga ahead of Bayern Munich. No one expected them to win the Champions League. But they were a very, very good team in the first half of the season. They were second in the Bundesliga, far beyond Dortmund and Schalke. And then they just started losing. They won just 1 game out of their last 12. Now they're 4th. They're still in Champions League contention, but they're only a point above 5th. They may lose the Champions League spot next season. And they were second in December. Very, very good. So the past 3 months, very, very disappointing.
And they said that they came out and made these moves, firing Hyypiä to save their season. Can they save it, or is it lost? It's gone.
Usually when you sack a coach, it changes things for a game or 2.
But do they have enough time to do anything?
That's the thing. We have only, I think, 6 games left in the Bundesliga. So if they do get good results within the next game or 2, that may save the season. By saving the season, what they need to do is make sure they finish 4th so that they will go to the Champions League next season. That the change in managers came in time to do the change. They're better than the teams chasing them. So that should do the job.
So that is a bright spot for them.
We will have to see that
weekend.
Dark weekend and dark 3 months.
Jonathan, thank you. And we now move to our sports news in brief. Breaking records at the Paris Marathon, Ethiopia's Olympian Kenenisa Bekele finished his first marathon ever in 2 hours, 5 minutes and 4 seconds. The previous record was held by Kenya's Stanley Wiwot, who finished the grueling course in 2 hours and 10 minutes. After the marathon, Bekele said he thinks in the future he can finish a marathon even faster. And reigning champion Sebastian Ogier gave a dominating performance in the second half of the Rally of Portugal, giving Volkswagen its 8th straight World Rally Championship. Ogier had the quickest time on the opener in Lisbon, then briefly lost the lead. But he saved his best for the end, winning with a margin of 43.2 seconds. And positive news from the hospital in Grenoble. Michael Schumacher's agent said the 7-time world champion showed, quote, moments of consciousness and awakening over the weekend. The F1 legend has been in a medically induced coma since a skiing accident in December and remains in the wake-up phase. And Michal, there are probably a lot of happy and encouraged fans to hear this news on the web.
As you can imagine, everyone is very excited, and this has definitely been the first glimpse of hope. Only a month ago, doctors were saying you need a real miracle for a situation to change, and this is the beginning of a miracle. Let's look at our first tweet. All right, Schumacher is making eye contact, responding to voice. This is a positive sign.
Really showing his improvement after a couple weeks ago.
Then again, it will take a few weeks to see if he can really fully recover from his coma or not. This could also be bodily reflexes. So as much as this is a positive sign, we'll have to wait and see what will happen in the next few months. Next tweet. Number 2, Michael Schumacher's agent says Formula One legend is waking up after 3-month coma. So again, we don't know if it's really waking up or moments of consciousness and awakening, but this is really wonderful and great news for everyone.
It's great news for us fans. Michal, thank you very much.
Thank you, Merav.
And now we move to this week's report. Before the 2014 Formula One season started, the topic on everyone's mind was the new regulations, which would have a substantial effect on the sport. For now, drivers and constructors who adjusted to the rules have better success at the circuit, while the others, not so much. Ori Baum reports.
The 2014 Formula One season had a rough beginning for many drivers, as they still have to handle the new regulations implemented in car racing's premium level. The FIA decided to make an overall change, introducing a new hybrid V6 engine, replacing the heavier fuel-consuming V8 format. Gearboxes were increased to 8 forward ratios instead of 7, and the weight of the vehicles was increased in almost 50 kilograms, a major difference for the drivers.
The car itself and the technology that Formula One brought this year is a little bit complex to everyone, and we are learning and we are developing the car every day.
Felipe Massa is one example for a driver not enjoying the 2014 season so far, crashing and retiring from the Australian Grand Prix and finishing only 7th in Malaysia. Massa and Williams aren't the only ones having troubles with the regulations, as defending champions Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull seem to suffer even more hardships in that area. In the pre-season practices in Jerez, Spain and Bahrain, Vettel had a hard time dealing with a new car and engine. And in the first race in Melbourne, the German had to retire after only 5 laps due to technical issues. Many say that Red Bull's problems are related to the new 1.6-liter turbocharged V6 engines, made for the 2014 season, yet unable to properly carry the vehicle. These claims sound logical by the day, as Caterham, another constructor using the engine, has been suffering from a rocky start of the season.
It's been a difficult year so far with the problems we had in the preseason, and then Australia was obviously a very difficult weekend for the whole team.
For now, teams not using the Renault engines enjoy better success. Mercedes looks like a team which adjusted well to the regulations. Their PU106A hybrid engine brought them to 2 consecutive podiums, as Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton won respectively the 2 first races of the season. But maybe not all is lost, as time will bridge the gap for the drivers and constructors dealing with their difficulties.
New regulations obviously changing the sport quite a lot, especially with the new regulation change. And again, you always have more to learn, and for me, that's what keeps the sport exciting.
Every sport needs a change and a facelift, and Formula One isn't any different. The new regulations are putting the sport into maximum overdrive, and it will be interesting to follow the world's best drivers handling the rules with care.
French striker Nicolas Anelka is once again in the spotlight, and for what some may consider the wrong reasons. In an interview, Anelka defended the Canal sign celebration he says he did to honor his friend, not as an anti-Semitic sign. And the striker, who left West Brom after the incident, is reportedly joining Atlético Mineiro in Brazil. Jonathan, this isn't the first time he's done this to himself.
Nicolas Anelka, it seems like he always takes 1 step forward and then 2 steps backwards. That's how he does.
And he keeps hurting himself.
Yeah, totally. First of all, we should say he's an exceptional player. He was very, very good, especially back in the days in Arsenal, but also in the French National League and national team and other teams. But he keeps on getting in trouble. Now he did this interview to try and clear his name after the Canel salute. What happened? He said, well, Dieudonné, he was my friend, now he's my brother.
He's basically saying, so he comes out defending himself.
You want to clear your name? Try something better. And if you can't do that, just put your head down, wait for this whole thing to go away. But if you want to clear your name, that's really not the good way to do it.
And you've already said it. He came out and, he said it's not anti-Semitic. I can't swallow it. People are associating with it just because they did it outside a synagogue doesn't mean it. But then he comes out and makes this statement, now he's a brother to me. Can you believe this statement? Or this is a guy who's banned from Britain for being anti-Semitic.
And plus, again, you want to clear your name. You know who's Dieudonné in French society. You know who that guy is. You want to clear your name? Shut up. Don't mention that.
When you're trying to absolve yourself and you continue to give too much information, too many details, it's like you do feel guilty of something.
And we've spoken about this before. A lot of people outside of France wouldn't know the name Dieudonné, wouldn't know that Anelka would do this. You don't watch as much football, but you know it because he keeps getting himself into this repeated mess.
That's right. I wouldn't have heard about this story. But when you continue to try to convince people of your innocence, you go out of your way to take steps to do these things, it just puts you back in the spotlight again, makes me look into the story deeply, and then see that, maybe this guy isn't so nice, he isn't so great in his actions.
And very quickly, do you think this can follow him to Brazil?
Not really, and I think the interview was the two steps backwards. Maybe the move to Brazil, to Atlético Mineiro, that's a step forward because he's getting away from the spotlight, getting out of the spotlight, going to a place where he can concentrate on his football, hopefully, because there are many temptations in Brazil. Someone like Nicolas Anelka, together with his friend Ronaldinho,
in the future,
they can fall
back
into
to Europe. And Michal, what are fans saying about this?
Well, we have two tweets for you, and like Jonathan was saying, maybe you should be quiet and not go around and blame Jewish people for Dieudonné's ban. So our first tweet is, Anelka blames French Prime Minister Manuel Valls' Jewish wife for a ban against anti-Semitic comedian. Well, the truth is he didn't say that she's Jewish, but it's kind of a well-known thing in France, and so him now blaming her for this move is probably not the brightest step for him.
On the hot
He
seat.
just loves that fire. Second tweet is Anelka has joined Ronaldinho at Brazilian Atlético Mineiro 3 months after the Canel controversy, and this is confirmed by club president. I think it's interesting to see that there's the sport part of it and there's the controversy, and it seems like the team will take any player that they think will advance them. So I have to say I was surprised that he was given so many options right after being banned by his own team just, a month ago?
And he will be the hero if they're good. If they're good, we've said that many times. If he's good on the pitch, they'll forget.
It doesn't matter what he does.
They will forget anything.
What he says.
Anything.
True.
Well, Jonathan and Michal, thank you very much.
Thanks, now.
And now we move to NBA action. The Eastern Conference of the NBA has been a disappointment this year, to say the least. We thought we had two dominant teams in Miami and Indiana, followed by a whole mess. But as of late, there's even trouble at the top. Danny, last week we spoke about that middle pact and what would happen if the playoffs started in the West. Now let's move to the East. If they were to begin today, it's a hot mess.
I am nothing less than shocked and appalled by the play of my beloved East. The East Coast, what it was before, what it is now, the Heat and Indiana at the top aren't playing very well. So there's really nobody who's really going in.
And it's that middle again, like we saw with the West, that's really going to be the exciting part.
That's the thing. Indiana right now, they're playing so terribly. Lost 6 on the road, 8 of the last 10. And the thing is, they have to be worried because if they get past the first round, they're going to have a tough second round of playoffs. They're going to get beat up in that second round.
And we have this Toronto-Washington matchup that's going to possibly come up in that first round.
Well, that's right. And Toronto has these really good, potent backcourt. And right now, they're actually tied with the Bulls. So we don't know exactly if the Bulls will play Washington right now or Toronto will play Washington. The Bulls previously did not want to play Washington because they had lost to them 2 times previously. They won yesterday or 2 days ago. Toronto's up to play them, and the Bulls will be playing Brooklyn as it stands.
And that's possibly the more exciting, complex matchup, even though it is really the middle of the pack and not one of the top 3 of the East.
This is correct. Listen, I want to clear the air. Listen, I'm from Chicago.
Yes, Chicago.
I know I talk about the Bulls a little bit, but I will say that the Bulls at the beginning of the year, they were destined to go nowhere. They had lost Derrick Rose to an injury, a season-ending injury. They traded their best player, one of their best players, their scorers, Luol Deng, so they had nothing. But the thing is, Tom Thibodeau, the coach, has a next man up policy, and he just kept bringing up these nobodies and made them players.
He actually has a player who could be, if it weren't for Kevin Durant, absolutely owning it this season in the race for the MVP.
This is correct. Joakim Noah Noah is considered maybe one of the best defensive players in the NBA right now. He's third in the running for MVP. He's stepped up his game in all around. He continues to get rebounds. I think he has 11 games where he scored over 20 points and over 11 rebounds. It's amazing.
Quickly, what are their chances if they do face that Brooklyn team in the first round?
That's going to be a very tough matchup because this Brooklyn team, they have a lot of playoff experience. And the thing is, the Bulls used to play when they were on the Celtics. They're two major players. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I like to think that the Bulls, with their toughness, their drive, their intensity, their spirit, their confidence, the most important thing, their confidence, they could go far in this playoffs and they can knock off a team like Indiana in the second round. Indiana does not want to go into
right now at the top, it looks like anybody can knock up those top two. Danny, thank you very much.
Thanks, Marav.
And that's all for us today. For all the latest sports news, you can find us on the web, i24news.tv, our Facebook page, or our Twitter page. And you can tweet at us at i24newssports. We'd love to hear from you on there. From all of us here on Sports Weekend, I'm Mirav Savila. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to join us again next Sunday right here on i24 News.